Alright, chat, it's time. Let's get this over with.
So I think
Our favorite bold streamer has once again looked at some stuff to do with Final Fantasy. And because I'm a unoriginal React Andy, we're gonna watch it. So, as I said, I have seen the Bellular portion of this. I've watched it. It's good to see. People know my opinion on WoW creators going to Final Fantasy by now. I think it's good. I just wish our side of the community weren't so weird about it. I don't understand this void and stuff, but you know, it is what it is. So we'll see what he thinks, and I will commentate appropriately.
So I think the next thing to talk about is a game. It's another game. It's not World of Warcraft, but it is a game that I think a lot of World of Warcraft players have been able to ignore, that we kind of can't ignore in a way.
What game might that be, Michael?
It may just be Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. Might just be that. I'm going to kick it off with my thoughts and impressions so far. I have properly played the game for like 4 or 5 hours. I mean, to put it this way, I'm like level 19. I have just left Gridania. That's where my character is. So I did like the little, the initial arc, starting off as an archer.
Yep.
So,
see, look at this. Really enjoying FF so far, coming from a 2004 to 2018 hardcore WoW player. It's not as impossible as people think. It's crazy, isn't it?
I have a few different thoughts. I guess the first thing I want to talk about is look and feel.
Yeah.
Immediately, Final Fantasy XIV does not feel great if you're used to World of Warcraft because you have acceleration on the character movement, right? So you hit the W key in WoW, your character goes instantly. You do it in Final Fantasy, there's a little curve. There's like a ramp up to your speed.
I didn't understand this point, by the way. Can anyone am I just so used to it that I didn't that I just never noticed this? But is that a thing? I don't think that's a thing, right? I'm pretty sure Matt chimes in at some point and corrects him, but I don't think there's no acceleration when you move. Yeah, I didn't think so.
That, or at least it feels like that.
It's the animation, not speed.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. There's something about it. It just doesn't feel as
animation, maybe.
Well.
I don't know though.
It's the thing where you will figure that out very quickly if you go in and start tapping A and D repeatedly, or if you go to fight. I'm pretty sure.
Weeb shit, Keck W.
Because I've never felt it.
So just the animation then?
Yeah, it's just the animation.
Okay.
So the animations and stuff like that, again, that's his first take. I mean, well, the animations do matter. I mean, of course they matter. Why would they not matter?
Yeah, you want to look cool and stuff. It makes sense.
Hotkeys, doesn't feel as tight as WoW.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
So I think that's something. If they could fix that up, it would be good.
So this is the thing, right? It's because of how the engine works. It's because of it all. I mean, you're completely correct, but everything is all of the engine stuff running underneath is impeccable. Essentially,
hello, Ari.
When you hit a button, it does register. It's just the animation, it going and cooldown.
Yeah.
So this is true. Play Bard, for example, and press any fucking button. Bard is really bad for this. Machinist has it as well with Drill and Air Anchor. Other classes do have this, say Paladin's Atonement as well. But with some things it's more noticeable than others, and it does take a bit of getting used to. It feels less reactive because you see this big animation for an ability, and then you see the damage register later, even though it registered when you pressed it, but then it can ghost your abilities if there's downtime. So it's it's just this weird thing you get used to, and what they're saying now, I agree with, because I don't like it that much either. I'm very used to it by now. I don't complain about it now, but it's a thing that takes a lot of getting used to. Yeah, exactly. And that's something that, like, I think WoW players especially would maybe not struggle with, but again, would take some getting used to.
And all that stuff means that it can be really awkward, but it is a good experience when you get into fights, and like really tight fights don't feel sloppy.
Yeah.
Team B, thank you very much.
Actually looking at it feels it.
As I've got more abilities and went through my rotation a few more times, it's feeling better to me now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess the other thing
Rotations
is,
at
look,
level
how does the
19,
game look?
Omega lol.
And that is an interesting one because they have one of the...
That's like a big turnoff for me, is the way the game looks. And it's like, it's so hit and miss, too.
Hello, Concha.
Because, like, if I go and I show you guys what the game looks like. Like, all right, so here we go. I'm going to show you guys, like, this right here. Okay, this is awesome. This is fucking badass. It's a guy with a huge fucking sword. Like that? Perfect. Like, this is what I like seeing. And, like, this stuff right here. Like, yeah, this is amazing. I love this. But it's weird to see a game that has this in it, and it also has cat girls. And that's the issue, is, like, some of the aesthetic... Like, I'm going to be honest, guys. If the entire game, if all of Final Fantasy was like this, I would have been playing this game for a long time. Valpyra? Yeah, but I didn't want that shit in the game either.
Here's the thing, right? There is a stigma around characters in this game, right? There is a stigma where, you know, if you play a cat girl, if you play a bunny girl, if you play, like, most female characters, like, you're somehow, like, you know, you don't play the game, you just, like, RP all day or something. Like, the problem is, like, the game can be really badass to those that want it to be really badass. Like, but it doesn't have to be if you don't want it to be. If you want to get involved in, like, all the glamour and stuff like that, or, like, the casual, like, attire that you can wear, then, like, you shape the game differently. You know, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, if you just logged on to raid, like, just do pure content, never hang out in Limsa or anything like that, and then log off, you would see the game very differently to the people that log in just to, like, talk to people on the bench or something. And I feel like this is where that separation is, where you can be like, oh yeah, it looks badass, but there's cat girls. Like, it's really a perception thing, and, like, a what you do in the game thing. So, I don't know. Rather have a 5-polygon green orc? Fantastic. I'm glad. I don't think the races in WoW are bad. I don't think they look that terrible. They're well thought out, at least. Like I see his point. I do. I think it really depends on the way you play the game.
But I never wanted that. I said specifically, please don't make this a race, and they did.
Worst anti-aliasing problems I have seen. The only
Hello,
AA that's
YouTube.
available is FFXIV, and that basically just looks like a Vaseline smear on top of the game, so it looks terrible.
This is
with
also very
FFXIV,
true, by the way.
with that on. And without it, I mean, the aliasing is just kind of insane. I think
it is
their
bad.
shadows... I think it's the color temperature of their shadows, actually, that I don't like. It's like the shadows are almost uniformly quite grey, and they're in, like... Yeah.
The whole game's grey, dude. Like, you can say it, it's fine. Without, like, G-shade or reshade, which they do touch on, by the way. Like, the whole game is grey. Like, look. I turn my shader off, grey. You know?
Yeah, I feel like there should be more of a color cast to their shadows. So there's been like a whole bunch of technical and compositional issues that I've had with the starting content of the game that they do take a little bit to get over, and I think it immediately looks worse than World of Warcraft does because WoW is so stylized. And what that basically means is in FF, you can... I think
that's fine about WoW, by the way.
Yeah,
People moan about that, but I think it's okay.
Implementation.
Yeah, I think
that's one thing that WoW did do really well, is that the game is like, that's why you can play a WoW game from 2004, right, or 2007 with BC, and still enjoy the game and not really notice the age of the game because it's so stylized. And I think that was
true.
a huge success point of WoW, is like the art style and the way the game's designed artistically. That's a huge success point. Absolutely.
So all the time, but it's a tricky thing where I actually feel like I really like a lot of their compositions, like their levels. They feel really good to run around in.
Yeah.
But I think the quality that is there is, at least in the Around the Born stuff.
You know what time is? New badge in 2?
I'm watching a video, bro. Couldn't you have waited?
For
spamming 260 billion times. Oh my god. Yo, Rui, thank you for 3 months, dude. I really appreciate that. Welcome back, man. New sub badge indeed. Thank you. Holy fuck, there's so many, man. But yeah, like, I completely agree with this. I think WoW just has not better, but more style, I guess. Like, it's set in its ways. Final Fantasy goes for a more realistic look, I guess, and it's that's fine. But it's not to everyone's taste. Not everyone likes that kind of thing. Some people really like to just feel like it's proper fantasy where everything just looks insane. So, you know, it's fine.
I've seen so far, which is basically just Gridania. It's kind of betrayed by technical engine problems that some of them do persist that I've seen from your gameplay of Shadowbringers content, and that is kind of unfortunate. Now, that said, once I actually got through all of those initial things where the game didn't feel as snappy as WoW, it didn't look as crisp and stylized as well, I actually started to get into things. Oddly enough, that's where it
take getting used to. It does
pick up the pace and be interesting to me. So I'm trying to think of like what to do first. The 2.5 second GCD. Yep, don't mind. It didn't actually piss me off that much, and I have played on your higher level Bard. So having the higher GCD, but after, you know, whatever level your Bard was.
Yeah, that was only 50 or something.
Yeah,
50,
so it's
50,
like you're level,
something?
you're like level 50 or 60 Bard. Yeah, the GCD doesn't feel mega
I
great,
did,
but
Rui,
you're actually weaving instant cast things in between that. Yeah. And I think with the design of so many of the rotations, like I've been looking at the Samurai one, because basically...
The thing is, like, with rotations, I feel like...
Oh my god.
Serena Yaya.
Thank you for 4 months, Yuzu. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Welcome back. I appreciate the support.
I'm not gonna care that much about the GCD not being like, or being 2.5 seconds, right? Because you use spells inside of the GCD.
Yep.
So it's not like, oh well, you can only do one thing every 2.5 seconds. You do things inside of that. And also, like in Burning Crusade, there's a lot of times where you're just waiting for an ability to come up. That's not that much better. It's really not. So like, my menthol, I would want, yeah, exactly, miss. Yeah, well, yeah, if you're not hit capped. But like what I'm saying is like, this is not something that would really be a deterrent for me, because I used to play Arms Warrior back in the day. It's okay.
I swear he moaned about this at some point though. Like, I swear he moaned and said this. Like, he wasn't happy about it. So that just tells me he didn't really know much about it. But now I'm glad that like he kind of understands what the point of it is now. And again, this is something that takes getting used to. Like, people that come from WoW to this game, just like people that go from 14 to WoW, like, these changes are massive. Like, they're huge for the way you play the game, and they're huge for like getting used to it. Like, admittedly, having not played WoW for a couple years before I started this game, or like a year or something, it was still weird to me, feeling how slow it was. and that is very true. But like, and in the early levels, you don't get many OGCDs. So unfortunately, a lot of the classes like pre-50 do feel very slow. It does take getting used to. And, you know, I'm never gonna fault, like, any WoW player for, like, saying, yo, this feels weird, this feels slow. Because it does until, like, at least level 60, when classes finally start getting OGCDs that they can use, like, more regularly, which kind of speeds up the gameplay, so to speak. Yeah, I think they should give them it sooner, because it also teaches people sooner how it works.
As long as whenever you hit that button, it feels good, that's really what matters. Because like in BFA, you had a million buttons that you could press, right? And like Legion 2, and like in PvP, none of them fucking matter.
I hope they do an
Endwalker
like, deck boxes.
You had like maybe Chaos Bolt and a few other things, but for the most part, I'd rather have a few abilities that you can hit, and those abilities really matter, rather than a bunch of abilities that don't really matter.
What did I just see?
Rather than a bunch of abilities.
Man, Fell Cleave is cum. I love it, dude. The problem is, it's not, because inner release just kind of sucks. Like, it just, I don't know. I don't like the idea of inner release, and I don't like how this big concept is baked into so many classes at the moment. But still, big numbers feel good.
That don't really matter.
Basically, I'm only playing an archer / bard until 50, and then I think I want to go samurai with it. I feel like it should all work quite well. So on the gameplay front, I'm actually quite happy looking at the top end gameplay that I've seen. Also, like,
oh my god, dude, man, I gotta start like turning down my alerts when I watch videos. Yo, Ryan Scope, thank you for tier 3 for 10 months, dude. Thank you so much. Welcome back. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That's huge support.
They look like in-depth, interesting rotations.
I really wish we had time today to let you play like one of the Eden normal fights on my bard, because you would have loved it.
Yeah.
You also would have died
Account
instantly.
sharing.
So I guess then to move into experience, what happens whenever the anti-aliasing and the shadows and, you know, it feeling a little bit clunky at times.
Worked a game as a fan of
Once
Asmon.
you're through that, you have
As
music
far as I
that
know.
thus far I love.
Yeah, I saw him in the chat.
I love.
I never really was a huge fan of the Final Fantasy music that I've heard so far. I really like the WoW music. I think that the WoW music is...
Don't let, like, anyone on Twitter hear that, okay? Now, you are perfectly allowed to have this opinion, you know? Like, this is like the Nirvana situation I described the other day. Like, some people do think that just because, like, so many people think it's good, that you have to think it's good too. If you don't like it, that's fine. Like, no, he didn't say it was bad. He says he doesn't like it. There's a difference, Krez. If he said it was bad, that's a head scratcher for sure. But he said he doesn't like it.
just awesome. I love the WoW music. So maybe I will... The music's amazing. Well, then I haven't... I mean, I've listened to, like, maybe 5 tracks. And they probably, like... I'm assuming that they probably have, like, 200 tracks in Final Fantasy or more than that. So, like, maybe I don't... Maybe the ones that I haven't listened to are not good. What do you want me to say? Like, how are you going to mauled out whenever I say that the music that I've listened to in this game hasn't been good?
Yeah,
I mean, like, it's fine. Like, obviously, everyone who plays this game seems to love the music, and rightly so. The music is incredible. It's such a massive part of the game, and it's really, really good. For a WoW player, like, a lot of their soundtrack is quite orchestral, whereas here, like, it's just everything, right? So, like, it is very different. It's jarring. And, you know, I don't know a single person who doesn't like the music who plays this game. But if someone doesn't like it, then that's okay. Like, you can't call it bad, no, because music's a very subjective argument. But you can say that you're not a big fan of it. Durdle Turtle, thank you for the follow. Welcome.
It definitely, at least the Gridania stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've loved the music, and like just the vibe, the ambience. I think has been really nice, really successful. It feels cozy, basically.
Gridania specifically is gorgeous. That.
Yeah. So I've actually liked my Gridania experience quite a bit.
Sorry, hang on. Just gonna get away from the tree smacking a sec. Holy fuck! So many noises.
Yeah, that's been quite good. Narrative then is funny because I'm playing through A Realm Reborn, which everybody says is by far the worst content that this game has.
Yeah.
And I think if this game started off at the quality level that Shadowbringers seems to be, we would have a very different conversation right now, and I think WoW would be in a lot more trouble because I think
this is what so many people say, and they're not wrong either.
Because they have to get through the content of A Realm Reborn, and you know people might.
That's the problem a lot of games have. Is like I think WoW had this problem for a long time too, where it's like you had to get through the shit that sucked in order to get into the stuff that was fun to play.
Somebody said most important question: are you a cat girl? Yes, I think I'm a sun cat girl. Maybe moon cat girl. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree, Rayra. You know, it's not like people listen to it all the time either.
Bro, they play the game for like 3 days and they start this shit? 3 days.
I was thinking of going for like a dragon or something, but I could not make a character on Zodiark, so I had to go with an old, basically meme.
No, is he actually on Zodiark, by the way?
Not touch at all.
Oh, I'm sure. It's a complete accident.
Fun, so that's
total accident.
So I was doing that. Basically,
that's our
like,
server. My server. He is. Yo, that's sick.
Text is important. Now the game provides
good choice.
It shows quest text to you via
hit him up. No, that's weird.
Click through like it's a JRPG, like it's an RPG.
Because it is a JRPG.
Yeah.
Now that is so much more effective than how WoW does it by default, which is just click an NPC, wall of text.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Like some of the quests in like BFA, especially, and things like that, those are way better at telling stories than just like the original World of Warcraft storylines. No one reads WoW Quest. Yeah, exactly. And I think it's definitely a problem. Like Elder Scrolls Online also had better questing too, in terms of like having things voice acted and stuff like that. It just makes the game feel more immersive. It makes you feel like you're more in it.
So here's the.
I agree with that. I don't like questing in most MMOs, but the problem with that is, imagine if they had to fucking voice every single quest in this game. Like, there's so many. That's just not feasible at all. So, like, I'm okay with it not being like this. Like, it's so just, I don't know. What I'm going to do is I'll read out any alerts that come through after the video, okay? Thank you for the support and for following and stuff, though. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thing about that. That's Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
It never stops that.
That's the thing.
It just also has massive moments as well.
It seems like it's, I'm playing like the worst bit, but it just kind of goes.
Just the MSQ.
It gets. Oh,
maybe.
Man, it is.
But they do more these days than they used to,
I don't know
though.
how to put this. I was relatively unsold on ARR when I finished it.
All right.
I was like, right, this is
Realm
good,
Reborn.
but it's not great. This is fine. This is perfectly okay. And then, now, I want to go back into the past and punch myself in the head for not keeping up with FF, because 5.3 is, after finishing 5.3, which is, that's when all of the expansion stuff ends.
5.3 is like largely touted as like one of the best story patches of ever. So many people, when you talk about Shadowbringers story, people talk about 5.3 like straight away.
0.4 and onwards is lead up to Endwalker.
Nah, bro, like, you know what I think? There's a part of me that thinks that it's like, it's so weird to me that there's people that are so happy about this game. It's almost like it's trying to. I feel like it's a conspiracy. Like it's a huge conspiracy. Everything's a huge fucking conspiracy. That everybody's being paid to all convince me to play this game. That's what it's gotta be.
It is my second favorite.
So
game
many
of all time,
people come at him about
without
it,
even
though.
thinking
It is
about the MMO
true.
part.
Okay.
That's
in terms
pretty
of just
big.
the story it tells. The one game that beats it is Nier Automata overall. Like it is.
yes.
It's,
That's
it
one
is
with
completely,
the girl with the
completely insane.
blindfold, right?
And it's all based off that same foundation. It's all that same foundation of
Okay.
just. Here's a couple people.
Someone just shouted
They've got
"Fat
problems.
Kuma" in
Yeah.
his chat. Like,
TV.
what the?
Happen. You go, fuck it,
Yeah.
I'll give you a hand.
I'm trying not to
Every
pay
time you
attention
show
to
up
his
more
chat
interesting
today
than
because
you,
it's
if it was
just
two
like it's
double
beyond
It's never-
saving.
Oh, hello, venerated one. Don't do any bullshit. Here's the big problem. It is just like, right, someone's there, and it's part of the main story quest. It's not just side quests,
Yeah.
where it's like, all right, go help this person with their like menial thing or their trivial like tasks and stuff. And it's a lot of it is like people here aren't really trained for combat. You're really strong. Go sort them out.
Okay.
So you fight stuff, and then someone's like, go pick some things while you're
Okay.
there. And it's just consistently being treated like an adventure is absolutely insane.
I've liked that so
it's
far,
completely
actually.
insane.
Yeah.
And they keep that the entire way, even as the character
I
builds up a
don't
reputation
like
as being,
that so much
you know, the
personally.
hero of the story. It is still like I saw. This is a long time ago.
So like, if the character is the hero of the story, is everybody the hero of the story that like plays the game? Is that weird? Like, I'm not really sure what it is. Yeah, I don't know. It is? Okay. So it's just like in WoW? Well, that's not always how it was in WoW. That's not how it was in WoW at all.
Or the
I'm
post
sorry,
was from a long time
Jabroni.
ago. I think it might have been from around Heavensward time. Maybe it was early Stormblood.
Yeah.
But someone on Reddit posted saying, like your main character is barely a character sometimes. You're basically like you're a tool. You're like a gun in the back pocket of other characters, and you're just used to point and shoot things.
Kind of.
Like, oh, we've got problem solved. Pull out the main character,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
through that, especially when they start to add dialogue choices later on, that really feel meaningful and go back to previous things. They're not massive. They change the next line of dialogue, but nothing else essentially. Where somebody, you can make like a funny, you could say a funny thing, and the character will respond going, "You're such a bell end." Anyway, off you go. And it just works so perfectly because you're the one who's done all this immense stuff, as all these other characters are doing main character things.
So like, I never really get like immersed in stories. That's I think really what it is. Like, I never get super like immersed in stories or anything like that.
Once again, if you don't play MMOs for story, this game is automatically less good for you. Like, this is a point I'm gonna say over and over. The entire Final Fantasy franchise is very story driven. Like, everything you do because story. Like it. Some things are a bit kind of out there, like the Omega Raids last expansion. Like, yeah, okay, that was kind of really off the cuff. But, like, take this expansion. But then again, like, even WoW was like that. Like, the WoW raids are very much to do with the story. Just here, it's a lot more, like, I want to say, like, intertwined. Like, literally everything. And, like, if you want to understand it more, then you have to watch the story. WoW raids are the story. Yeah, like, that's what I mean. Like, at the same time, it's not like WoW isn't driven by story. It's just that this game does it in a much more... I don't even know how to put it. I have no idea. Yeah, Maddie, kind of. I guess so.
And maybe that's because like I'm like a weirdo or something, but it's just never really like gripped me in and got me like super excited to like, oh, I want to play this or that story or whatever. Like, I just don't Like, I care a lot about, like, the way the game plays, and, like, the story, it's like sprinkles on a cupcake. Like, yeah, does it make it look better? Do you appreciate the sprinkles? Does it make you like the cupcake
This is
more?
true.
Yeah, a bit, but you don't buy a cupcake. You don't eat a cupcake for the sprinkles. You're eating it for the cake and the icing. And I feel like that's really where I'm at, is I care about the cake and icing, and the story is just the sprinkles on the top.
I'm with him on that.
And
I'm sure people hate me for that, but
it is absolutely
I'm kind of the
unbelievable
same.
overall.
Yeah.
With MMOs
And
anyway.
it's purely from that thing of they started it there of learn about these people, learn about this place, and just do that over and over again.
It's that thing where I get a humongous feeling that it's a slow build that is going to pay off.
It is,
which I mean, I know it pays
It
off
is
basically
very
for
slow
everybody
to start,
that
yeah.
I've heard.
it really does.
The duties, which are kind of like scenarios
Yes.
that you're bumped into for like key plot moments, they've been good too, and you go into them really quite seamlessly. I know it'll be way
Yes,
better in the
Maddie, I have.
future,
Yeah.
but what I've really noticed is like even the Realm Reborn cinematography, cutscene
I've been
stuff,
keeping up
yeah.
with this stuff
it
though.
is less jarring than World of Warcraft Shadowlands is.
It really
Not
is.
all on
Way
streams,
less
but yeah.
jarring. And I think that just goes to show how much better those RPG elements are handled by Shadowbringers. And basically, the World of Warcraft stuff looks completely fucking incompetent in comparison. And I've seen some in-game cutscenes that happen in Stormbringer.
Yeah.
Dude, that
I
is
think
so
you showed
funny.
me, or Stormblood, it was like a year ago. And those absolutely, it was like, they looked like actual video game cutscenes that you get in a video game with a campaign that you play. But it was there in this MMO. You compare it to the WoW ones where you've got Tyronda's mouth doing something, her voice is doing something completely different. The animations looking all janky, and also a thing that makes the WoW ones look complete.
Dude doesn't give a single dude. When Bellular's streaming, like he just says what he feels. Like he comes across as like really professional on like his gaming and his news channel, but like on this clips channel where it's like taken from his live streams, this man just goes off and it's so fucking funny. I actually love him. It's so good. And that was an example of that. He just doesn't care about like people hating on him for shit. It's so good. It's so good.
Completely embarrassing.
Twitchception. No.
Arts.
It's like I'm very used to like the WoW cinematics, so it's like whenever I look at other cinematics, I don't even really like these things are not that important to me. Yeah, these things are not that important to me. Like, yes, obviously they matter to a degree, but they don't just completely change. Like, this is not like changing my life. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Like, yeah, it's whatever to me. It's like about why. Yeah, it just doesn't matter that much. Like, the thing that I don't really like about the whole Final Fantasy thing, here's what kind of is, here's what's weird about it, is that, like, I feel like I can't even really talk about the game, because if I ever say anything positive or negative about it, it's just, like, people get, like, it's all formulaic, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know. It's like I say something good about WoW, it's copium. I say something good about Final Fantasy, it's being a weeb. It's just cringe and boring, man. It's cringe and boring, guys. Let's try to.
He's completely right.
Try to be a little bit more
100%.
interesting, okay?
Style doesn't
Yeah,
match the game they're making
he's
at all
very
for World of
right.
Warcraft
Like
sometimes.
you can
Now, I
tell
don't
he's
think
getting
art style
sick
the
of
world.
it.
Of course, a
It
part of
sucks
art
for him.
style
It
is
does. It
animation,
does
how
suck
things
for
are
him.
animated. So the acting of WoW's characters is completely incongruent with the narrative. You've got Laura Bailey giving this big performance, and then Jaina with these humongous eyes, this incredibly overexpressive face, and you look at that and you're like, wow, what is going on? This is a weird cartoon, but the voice acting doesn't actually match it. Nothing, it all feels bad and weird. Whenever Blizzard do, those in-game cutscenes they started doing in Legion, and they've never looked good. They look better now than they did in Legion, but actually it's weird. In Legion, Blizzard, it's like they knew they looked bad, so they used them sparingly and they play to their strengths.
Yeah.
But now Blizzard will just flat out give you a close-up of a character's face and it'll look terrible.
Yeah.
And it's also like cinematography seemingly done by just a random game designer.
Yep.
And
I
look,
can't
for
really
example,
comment on the stuff Blizzard
for
does.
our game development,
it's true.
a recent build that we reviewed. Very happy with it. Very, very happy with it overall. But some of the staging and placement of characters and composition was clearly, you know, it's stuff that, I mean, we know it, like, it wasn't done by the art director because it wasn't done by the art director.
Yeah,
and it's a very
you can't
early
win.
passive thing, so it's fine.
Yeah,
but it's one of those things where it's like, that's important. It's important to get those things right. WoW completely fucks that up. And Final Fantasy XIV seemingly is doing a better job than WoW now in A Realm Reborn. I know it does a far better job based on the Stormblood stuff you've told me. And then from what I understand, by the time you hit Shadowbringers, they had massively upgraded a bunch of their camera tech and stuff to the point where it is truly incredible looking.
Yeah.
See, like, all these kinds of things are just not really selling points for me. And I think that's really, like, so for me, what do I really, really care about? I care about fluidity of combat, and I care about how the game plays and what the character progression is. Like, those are the main things that I care about.
This is what I care about too. I keep coming back to it, like, you know, it's true, like, the cinematography in the cutscenes and stuff. And before everyone goes, you're a dirty cutscene skipper, Saren. Yes, not on my alt, though. On my alt, I did watch a large portion of it, and you can see, like, that it has got better. But, like, for me, just like Asmon, it's not the biggest deal for me. I'm not that bothered about it. I care far more about how... I care far more about how the game plays, like, how my character progresses, like, the leveling experience, the stuff the classes do. You know, like, for me, it's about everything inside it rather than, like, the big bubble that shapes it, if that makes sense. After watching him react to this live, it really seems like he wants to try it, and so his chat just stops talking and asking about it. He has the power to tell them to stop. Like, you know, he's kind of trying to say it because he's saying, like, this shit's getting old, stop. But, you know, like... I feel like he's fighting a losing battle sometimes, and it's kind of sad in a way. Like, and it's something he did to a certain degree do himself. Like someone said earlier, he propagated the XIV's weeb thing for a while. Like, yes, but like it was more of like a joke, I think, and then, you know, people latch on to that, and this is the problem with being a big creator. Like, people latch on to what you say. And, you know, like, whether you're joking or not, it's, you know, not always your fault. Which is why I try and separate Asmon from his chat. Because, whereas I don't agree with everything Asmon says, I think he's an intelligent guy. And, you know, again, like we said last time, people spam just to shitpost and just for attention and stuff. Not always because, like, that's their actual opinion. So, I don't know. Yes, we are, Chiriki. I am. This is like Reactception. It's like the next level of being a React dandy. It's really bad, I know. I'm sorry.
Everything else besides that can be complete dog shit ass garbage. And as long as those things are good, I will enjoy the game. If it has a good progression system and if it has good combat and the game feels responsive to play. Like, I don't have like a lot of like really high expectations for the other stuff. But combat needs to be good. That's what matters to me the most.
So that's rough for Blizzard. They have not made the investments to compete with Final Fantasy XIV narratively.
No, they haven't.
And then I think also in Final Fantasy XIV,
not in that regard.
They are, I think, obviously way more willing to do things slowly and to earn their big moments. Whereas it feels like Blizzard loves their own lore and thinks that they deserve their big moments. That's basically it. It feels like Blizzard thinks they deserve their big moments, whereas Final Fantasy XIV thinks
the servers would be a problem, yeah.
Do you guys agree with that? Like, because like I don't know. I mean, it's hard really for me to say because like I've never played the other game. Does it deserve its big moments? Slow build up is the most rewarding. That's definitely true. I agree with you that it's more rewarding. I just don't know if that's really the way that I'd feel about it. That's all. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm just saying that's not how I'd feel about it. I do think that in general the WoW story is way too convoluted for the way that it's told in game. I think that WoW is telling a Game of Thrones level story in terms of like its complexity, not necessarily its quality, but it's just its complexity is very. There's a lot of different moving parts in WoW, and there's so many different characters,
and a billion
the way that it tells the
retcons,
story in game just doesn't really lend itself to allowing players to understand what's happening.
There's something we need to engage with here. Blizzard are good at making.
I love the story in games, but in an MMO, you're just playing for a story. You have like 50 hours of story. That's kind of how I feel. Like, if you just play an MMO for a story, you might as well be playing a single-player game. You do all the content once and then never again because you've seen it. If you just play games for story, I feel like you are very much limiting yourself. And that's the same with any game. Any game ever. Like, the story is not where the replayability is, apart from, like, the Nier games. The replayability is the enjoyment of the game and like the progression and, you know, the different things between playthroughs, etc.
Making worlds and building lore.
Yeah.
I do not think Blizzard are good writers. And I've never understood why people think that Blizzard are this like renowned storytellers.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I don't really know how Blizzard can fix up this problem because it seems institutionally they're just sitting there being like, oh yeah, you know, we're here to make awesome moments and epic narratives. But it's like... they need to slow down and spend more time setting their things up. Sort of in recent times, they have just blasted through so much lore that it's like their storytelling hasn't been able to keep up with the pace of like the broad narrative movement they've been making. So that's an issue.
I can see that.
And I think there's a space where a lot of people...
Not for me personally, Doodle. Not for me personally,
if they can
but
find themselves able to go and play something.
I do see what you're saying. It lays a foundation for sure.
And actually have that suspension of disbelief, then I think it will be a lot more successful for not the lore side, but it'll be more successful for the storytelling side, I think.
Yeah, that is.
See, for me, I don't really give a fuck about who tells the story. Like, but I do think like what is the game that I think tells the best story in recent years? Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, all made by a Japanese developer. But like, yeah, I mean, so maybe that's it. But like, it's more like the aesthetic, and I don't really like the aesthetic, and it's not even like a like racist thing. Like, I don't like Asian aesthetic because Sekiro's story was incredible, and Sekiro was, you don't get more Asian than that, right? And so it just works in that way. But there are certain types of stories like that, especially whenever you get into like cat girls with attitudes and stuff, where it just kind of puts me off. And I don't know if I can get into the story of games like this, and I can enjoy them. Now, as I said, it doesn't really matter a whole.
Can't go. Yeah, is he talking about Y'shtola? Is that where that's coming from? Because I was trying to think for a sec. I was like, who's the cat girl with attitude? And then I was like, oh wait, yeah. I mean, I guess he's not wrong. You know, if that's not your thing, then fine. It's a weird point of criticism, though. I don't really know about this one.
A lot, as long as the gameplay is good, but it still is something that does matter to an extent. And I also want to say that like, people are wondering like, am I like afraid of trying the game and liking it? The only thing that I'm afraid of with the game is just creating a bunch of drama around my channel. Like, if I could just play the game and try it out and just have an opinion on it and not have people treat this opinion like it's a fucking a big deal, then yeah, I would probably play the game. But like, people have like elevated me playing this game so much that I'm afraid of doing it because it's not even afraid. I don't want to get into it, right? I just wish that people would be like more normal about it and just be like, oh, Asmon wants to try this new game. Let's see what it's like. You know what I mean?
This just sounds like a cry for help, man. Like, I do feel for him. Like, I think the best thing to do is just play it off stream at this point. Like, I don't know. Like, if he's curious enough to play it off stream, man. Like, playing it on stream, it just seems like the worst idea for him right now. Like, I don't think he wants that kind of shit. And yeah, I just think that's the best idea. yeah, I mean, well, this is the point I keep rattling on about. Like, don't pressure people to play games. Like, it's fine to say, like, oh man, it would be cool if they played this. But, like, going in their chat, going into their YouTube comments and whatever, and being like, play this game, play this game, play this game, play this game. It's annoying, man. You know, I know WoW and Final Fantasy is a hot topic right now, but that doesn't automatically mean everyone has to play the game. Like, holy shit. Like, people in general just need to chill a little bit. Like, holy fuck. But yeah, like, I think he should just play off stream, if he's going to. Because he can't, what's the word? He can't even do it on his second stream because, you know, as much as that's a more chill stream, it will just carry over to this stream. People come into this stream on his main channel and then just start going off at him, yeah. Anyway, so, like, he has no choice, and I do feel bad that he's, like, in this really trapped state. It's kind of sad.
And what I found so far as I've played the game, you know, actually paying attention to the quest text.
He has a second stream. It's not monetized, though.
You know,
he doesn't monetize it, which is...
seemingly disparate things helping people out in the forests of Gridania.
Very genuine
but they all
of
came
him.
together actually really quite satisfyingly.
Yeah.
And they came together in a way where I actually learned more about the world. Yeah. More about the lore and the world building. And I really liked how I learned more about the big picture of things by doing small scale things in the world that came to...
See, again, like, that stuff is nice, it's cute and everything. Yeah, for sure, it's real cute. But, like, I want to see... Like, I want to see the class that is the male character that uses a two-handed greatsword.
Dark Knight.
What does that gameplay look like? I want to see that. You know, like, they don't care about the world. Yeah, sure. Let's see the swords. Okay? Like, let's get into that Dark Knight. Yeah, something like that. Like, I'll look at that in a minute.
So that led to a situation
because, like,
with...
Oh, pause. Sorry, I mean pause again. But, like I watched BDO. I watched the BDO Awakened Warrior with a greatsword. I'm like, I'm playing this game.
There's Asmon tank. His main is a warrior. I don't know if it's Fury or
it's
Arms,
actually, like, it's literally that fucking simple. I just immediately played the fucking game. And so, like, I want to see that experience, man.
To me, where I actually didn't mind the whole talk to this NPC, run over there, talk to that NPC, run over there, because I was starting to get engaged and
he plays
to
both?
work out,
Okay.
like, the little mystery that was going on. And there's another thing there where the amount of XP that you get for those talkie quests is not trivial.
Not even, no.
So you actually feel completely fine to do those talkie quests
it's good.
because the game rewards you appropriately, which makes sense because the narrative that is covered in those quests is important narrative. Some other things then, I guess, that I've liked. The hunting log system that kind of promote... Basically, you go in... Well, there's like 5 levels of the hunting log.
It's a system.
Basically, it's just...
I don't know if it's
kill
good or
4
bad.
of this mob. We will give you a little bonus of XP. Do all of that to complete 1 level of the hunting log. You get a larger bonus chunk of XP. And all it basically means is when you're running through the genre, like, oh, that mob there, I need that for my hunting log, kill it, done. And it's just like...
Maybe
something you could transplant
Reaper
into WoW and it would actually be quite cool and fun. No, I mean, it's not a big thing. It's just that it adds you... It's just like a little thing to be like, oh, yeah, it's a nice little thing I can do as I level.
Also, that's an A Realm Reborn thing that, like, that goes away at 50. Like, it doesn't go on past 50.
I did
It's purely
Kotatsu,
for,
yeah.
2.x or whatever. And then they change it with more specific... There are big monsters out in the world that spawn every couple of days. Go do this with a group of people.
That's cooler for,
Which
like,
is very different.
the hitting end game, though.
It's extremely different,
Okay.
and it replaces it. But the point is, it's still there.
I wouldn't call the hunting a replacement, but it does reward XP. I don't know if many people really know this, but like, doing daily hunts does reward XP, especially in Shadowbringers. If you do it like every day, it's like a couple million or something. Like, obviously, like, the A and S ranks don't reward XP, they're end game, but The weekly ones do.
So you can still do it, and
Yeah.
it does. Honestly, I honestly think a lot of the 2.0 world, I actually learned the names of like very specific places, just because I've done the hunting log on so many different like classes now.
Okay.
So I have every job at least 30, and then only one up at 80. But it's just I've done all of the early hunting log stuff.
That's
So I'm just
cute.
going, oh, there we go. Like
I
know,
guess that's
like you say,
cute.
words like
Cute.
I'm trying. Now I can't think of an example. So
I don't know about that, man.
Helpfully, but I'm just like, oh yeah, I have a rough idea where that is. I have a
Yeah.
rough idea where it is. I can click the map, click the teleport, go there.
Although,
in a
I guess
second.
actually that's another thing. Teleport. This is a game you just teleport over the. As long as you unlock.
Do you can you fly in this game? Do you have flying mounts in Final Fantasy?
Yes. Yes, there are.
Oh, that's cool.
things
Mount
or whatever
design
shot-
in this game is some of the best in like any game I've ever seen. I'm just saying that right now. I think the models for the mounts here are very, very cool.
Hard in a zone. You click on it, you pay some gil, you teleport there. So handy. It doesn't destroy the world or the story or anything like that. It works in this game. It works in Guild Wars 2. So that's something worth thinking about. But there is a cheaper chocobo taxi system you can use
Yeah,
as
the
well.
chocobo,
So that was interesting. Fates. Fates. Fates are basically just like little zone events. And
Okay, that's cool.
I mean, there were zone events while I was leveling up in a Realm Reborn content.
Yeah.
That is above Shadowlands leveling content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why is that not there?
You get very sick of them very fast when Square Enix fall back on the idea of fates for like everything they make. Fucking Bosnia, Eureka, like events, like fucking relics, like fates are everything in this game. At least they're finally good for leveling, but like, oh my god, man, like, yeah, it's a nice concept at first, but Jesus Christ, you get so fucking bored of it. Skirmish? I mean, yeah, pretty much. You know, they've just fucking renamed it. It's still a fate. It's exactly the same thing. Like, please don't, like, bury your head in this idea, Bellular, because you get sick of them really fucking fast.
Yeah, I wish they had more events while you were leveling too. That's true. Like it's leveling does seem pretty bland. It's like leveling in a pre-patch. I remember with like the Legion pre-patch, you could go to the different events and do those. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it's just a case of it was put there in the start and it keeps going. And because you can play every job on a character, people will just go, oh yeah, I've got rogue at like level 2. I might as well
That's
play a
actually
little bit.
another thing too. That I can play different jobs on my same character. That's great because like I'm doing this character. It is an archer. It will turn into a bard. I'm going to hit level 50, unlock samurai. Probably go over to that. Great. That's really cool. As I really like that. So there's that. There's the fates, which I really liked.
Okay. Dark Knight, is that it?
Yeah.
Dark Knight Final Fantasy 14 gameplay. Let's see this. I want to see this. Okay. It'll be at the beginning anyway. It's fine. Okay. So that's good. All right.
Oh boy.
That's badass. Yeah, for sure. This is actually cool. Wait, this is a different guy. Where's the part with the big sword? That's some bullshit. I don't care about that. It's the end? Okay. Okay, here we go. So here's the real part. Okay, the Dark Knight. This is cool. That's cool.
Can they at least weave some stuff to make the gameplay look like fucking decent? Like, hello, dude.
I like it.
This job action trailer just, I don't know, man. I just don't. I'm just not.
So he can summon like an image with him? I feel like if I did play this game, this is probably what I would play. The effects are a lot. You're right about that.
This is a problem a few
like a
people
mirror
have
image.
with how like overwhelming the game looks in terms of its effects. Like I can see it.
that's
Again, it's
cool.
something you either get used to or you don't.
I mean, the Dark Knight shit, it looks badass, man. Like, I'll say that. It definitely does look badass. I would be willing to play this game, but I don't want to have it be like a weird fucking thing. Like, I'll play it on my main stream. I don't want to play it like off stream or whatever. But like, I just don't want it to
Sure.
be some kind of weird ass shit where like people get mad if I do or I don't like the game. I just want to play the game and just see what it's like, because I feel like it's gotten into this point where if I ever fucking talk about the game, it's like a bunch of weirdos that are like super opinionated about it and try to like fucking say how much they hate WoW, and it's like, oh well, then try to like fucking mind read me and be like, oh well, you are afraid of liking like some weird shit, you know? Like I don't want to deal with that. I just don't. And so I could just ban them. Yeah, but it's like at a certain point, like why even open up the possibility? So to me, that's just what I want to.
Shut up,
I just want to be able to
bot.
play the game and enjoy
It's a bot,
myself
Chad, don't worry.
and do that. And if I can do that, I'll be happy. McConnell, you there? What do you
You're
want
gonna
me
play Final Fantasy?
Ah, fuck!
You're gonna play Final Fantasy?
I'd be willing to try it if people didn't fucking like act like a bunch of
jeez.
weirdos. Yeah.
I didn't know you were a fucking weeb, dude.
God damn it, man! Are you kidding
Jesus.
me?
Yikes.
I just want to play. I just want to try it out. Just
Yeah, if
see
you
what-
get into that game, you're gonna be playing it without me. That's for sure.
Oh
Fuck
yeah,
that.
sure.
Fucking McConnell, man.
Probably already has a cat girl character on the game anyway. It's fine. Yeah, because probably too high level for me in his cat girl quest. That's why we wouldn't be able to play together.
I think like that last point is just very true. Like for Asmon in particular, it's mostly about community perception, and like the backseating in his chat would be off the walls. There'll be a bunch of idiots in chat just screaming at him to stop playing. I can see why it's just more trouble than it's worth for him. Like I just don't want it to be like that for him, man. I really don't. Like, you know, I'm sure like people dislike me when I say this, but like I like Asmongold, and I think over time he's become a much more like considerate person when it comes to things like this. And I just hate how like people treat it. Like as some people were saying in chat earlier, like you can't win no matter what you do, no matter what you like or dislike, someone isn't happy. So like who fucking cares, man? Like, this is, like, if he plays it on stream, he's gonna have a bad time, I think. Which is, like, you know, I don't know, man. It just feels to me like he's just kind of trapped. And you can tell he's trying to say it, but he has to say it in a way that isn't gonna make everyone just fucking leave him, man. Like, it's so bad. It is sad that, like, because this could happen to anyone as well. Like, it doesn't even have to be him. It could happen to anyone. Like, I'm sure, like, Preach and, like, Bellular and stuff have probably, like, lost subs because of, like, them being tempted to try and play this game. In the same way that maybe, like, Final Fantasy, like, streamers or content creators maybe lost people for playing WoW. Like, it's just so... Like, no matter what you do, like, someone isn't happy. So, like, what you should do is just do what makes you fucking happy. If you want to do something, do it. If you don't want to do something, don't do it. Don't listen to those people. Take advice, sure, keep it in mind, but ultimately it's your channel, your stream, etc. I think that's kind of the takeaway, I guess. I don't know. But that was a good video. Like, I knew we were going to watch it. So I was prepared. But, yeah, anyway. There was so many fucking follows during that, by the way. Holy shit. Durdle Turtle, Nocturnal Raven, Blez Rocks, You Got Done, Shiki114, Blogic, Dark Horse MB, Deckard, Supermad, and Sick ID Gaming. Thank you all for the follows. Welcome. Nice to meet you all. Welcome, all of you. Two secs, chat, sorry. You know, like, I know for a fact that, like, some people, like, probably dislike any Final Fantasy streamer or creator for, like, even defending Asmongold, because he's painted to be, like, this really awful, like, fucking caveman who just shits on things for the sake of it. But, like, whereas that, maybe that used to be the case, like, it's just not anymore. Like, it's just not how it is these days. Like, I think there's been a change in him at some point. Maybe because he's just tired of all this shit. Like, entirely possible. But, like, you know, I think some of the hate he gets is unwarranted. When you watch a stream, when you watch a video, you are subjecting yourself to someone's opinions. You don't have to like those opinions, but it doesn't make them bad people. Not on its own. So, you know, I just think it's dumb. And I really don't want to see, like, WoW bashing and, like, people just bashing people. Because it's just fucking annoying. Like, it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, grow up. People like to play different games. That's pretty normal. Like, you know, I don't know why WoW and Final Fantasy has to be such a massive point of contention. Like, yeah, okay, you know, they're big giants, very different games, very different player bases. And, you know, it's created this fucking, like, clash of clans almost. But, like, you know, I just don't agree with it. I just think it's dumb. I think it's immature. I think it's just, like, why can't people just get along and respect people having different opinions? Like, no one said you have to like it, but, you know, if someone wants to play a different game, like, so fucking what, dude? I don't know, man. I really, really dislike it. And I'm sure there's people that disagree and now think I'm an asshole because, oh, what, you're supporting Asmongold? Whatever, man. I really don't care. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's just this big bubble of shit, Maddie. Like, no matter what people say, someone is unhappy and they'll just try and twist it to sound really fucking bad. Like, it's no wonder, like, streamers and content creators, like, struggle with mental health. When, like, they know they're just getting put under a microscope all the time. Like, it's just so bad. You know, like, when streamers and content creators lose people because of, like, just having an opinion or something, or people, like, purposely jumping to this conclusion that they're an asshole, like, taking things out of context, like, it hurts, and, like, it's difficult to, like, overcome. Like, it's just, it's so awful. Like, obviously, you know, there's a degree of decorum that should come with whatever you say about anything. But, like, in this day and age, we live in a world when people just try and make the worst out of anything that they can. And it's just like, oh god, I don't know. And the reason I say this is because, like, for Asmon especially, like, it's blown up, like, 1 billion times because, you know, he is a very big streamer with tens of thousands of people watching him every day, and everything he says could just get misconstrued at the click of a finger. Like, it's, I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of exhausting. And, like, this whole Final Fantasy debate is just... Final Fantasy versus WoW debate is just... It's born some of the most ugly shit I've ever seen. And it's just... Oh, it's murderous, man. Why can't people just be nice to each other? I don't get it. Stop scrapping over this shit. Stop, like, trying to cancel people. Just fucking... I don't know. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now. I'm just gonna... stop it right there. No, yeah, people just need to think. Like, people need to stop this closed-minded attitude. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't look at Twitter. I guess, man. But yeah, it seemed a lot of new people joined us today, so hello, welcome, all of you. I'm primarily raid and just chat and fuck around in the game, but sometimes we watch stuff. Whenever big Asmongold takes come out, you know, the Final Fantasy directory turns into a React Andy directory, and I'm one of them. So hi. But yeah, you know. It's kind of cringe. What, the React Andy thing? I don't know. Like, I don't make a habit of just reacting to everything he does, because I mean, there's not really any point. But you know, like, this is something that we can discuss. But like, in my stream, people can discuss it in a civil manner. I will not tolerate people just shouting at each other, saying one is better than the other, and like, you know, throwing each other under the bus. Like, it's not okay, and it's annoying. That has not happened, by the way. That has not happened. Like, at all. And so, you know, I really appreciate all of you for discussing it in a civil way and stuff. And that's not happened. But it's just not something I would tolerate, because it's just fucking annoying, and it just feeds it's just feeding the machine, basically. Ban Haben? No, I wouldn't be a ban. It would just be like a short timeout. Like, yo, chill out. I have watched this P4L. I have watched it. I watched it off stream though. I'm not gonna watch it now. On stream, but Preach was very good at like trying to figure stuff out. Like, obviously he didn't get it all right, but like, you can tell he's a raider. Is it even worth for Asmon to play XIV from a streamer perspective, even at such a small directory? I mean, someone of his side just doesn't have to care, Matt. I don't know how much of his traffic is like people browsing directories. And obviously, yeah, it would be far less on Final Fantasy. But like, he has such a big follow base at this point that it just doesn't really matter for him, I don't think. Like, he'd probably have less viewers. Well, he'd have more while everyone talks shit at him, and then they'd have less when they all get banned. So, you know, I don't know. PvP 14 is bad? Yeah, it's bad. It's not good. Right, I'm gonna stop flying around.